Hello my friends, are you ready for Bundesliga game day number 8? Here are my best predictions and the best ecker at the end. Before we start, make sure you press the like button and subscribe to this channel if you want the best predictions and betting tips on YouTube. Thanks for your support. Let's have a recap on game day number 7. I lost my Eckers, as well the Asian Handicap 0, as well as the Asian Handicap -1. In total, -2 in the Eckers, and also if I would have betted 4 single bets, I would have made loss, but still way better than anyone else on YouTube. So let's go on and let's see what we can win on game day number 8. First game on Friday between Dortmund and Werder Bremen. We have clear odds as Dortmund has 1.3 as a favorite. That's really low, and remember the last game at Dortmund of Werder Bremen was this whopping 3-2 for Werder Bremen, where they scored 3 goals within the last I think 6 or 7 minutes. But now the time has changed and Dortmund has not lost one of their first 7 games, and Bremen was only able to win 2 games, and both were at home. So nobody expect anything from Bremen, but still favorite odds are for losers, so I don't bet on them. So that we can continue on the Saturday games between Union Berlin and VfB Stuttgart. One team is playing Champions League but lost the last 5 games in the Bundesliga in a row, and the other team was almost relegated in the last season but is now in position number 2 after winning 5 games in a row, and that's why the odds should be more in favor for Stuttgart, but they aren't. So I tell you why, because Union Berlin was one of the best home teams in the last 2 seasons, and now they had a really bad streak. So I think it was really good for them that there was a break because of the national team games, and for Stuttgart it was the worst situation because they were on a heater. And now I think the situation will change and Union Berlin will strike back, because the games they played were not bad at all. They were sometimes very unlucky, and I think in a normal game at home, after 2 weeks of practice for this game, I think they should not lose the game, and the odds are really attractive if we want to ensure a potential of a draw. So we can bet on 1.8 on Union Berlin, and if there's a draw we get the money back, and if Stuttgart wins, okay, so fair enough. We made enough profit so far betting on not the clear favorites, but my strategy won't change. I am looking for value in games like this where the odds are balanced, so the home team has almost the same odd as the away team, and in this situation we find value in Union Berlin because they are really strong at home, and Stuttgart is kind of overrated as no one expects them to be on spot 2. If we have a different situation with Union Berlin on spot 2 and Stuttgart on position 13, the odds on Union Berlin would be 1.6 or 1.5, so this is not really a fair odds, so we find value good for us, and I only can say that in mathematical terms before the game. If you come to this video after the game and anything else has happened, so what? I don't know the future, I just know how to calculate, and it makes sense that we bet on Union Berlin. But anyway, don't waste any money if you're not profitable, and so let's go on. Interesting game between Darmstadt and Leipzig. In the standings, clear thing, because Leipzig is number 6. They're playing Champions League. They only conceded 6 goals. They're scoring goals for fun, 16 goals here. But be aware of Darmstadt. They also collected 7 points, which is not bad, and especially at home Darmstadt made some good appearances and were able to not lose 2 out of 3 games. So after the last Leipzig game, I wouldn't be too sure to bet on a Leipzig win, especially that their odds are really bad with only 1.4. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to predict, oh, I think Leipzig might win, oh, I'm that expert in the Bundesliga. So everyone knows that, and even his grand aunt knows that Leipzig is the better team for sure. But they also were against Bochum at home, and what did they do? 0-0. That happens to teams like Leipzig sometimes, often. So that's why never bet on a favorite, never bet on a favorite when they play away, never bet on a favorite when they were only drawing against also weak team like Bochum. So what shall we do here? Nothing, absolutely nothing, because I would say Leipzig wins, of course, everyone says so, but betting on it is a complete different thing, because I want to have at least odds of 1.6 or 1.7 if I bet on a favorite like this, and they are not this high favorite. You see the odds were rising, so I don't care about this game, and I also don't care about this game. We have a pretty similar situation, as Freiburg is the huge favorite with odds of 1.7. This is way too bad for a team like Freiburg, who only won 3 out of 7 games. Not even the half of their games were winners. And you've seen it, that Bochum was able to get a point at Leipzig, a way better team than Freiburg. Anyway, in a tipping game, I would say Leipzig should win, because they have the better odds, they have the better team. They know the consideration that Freiburg should win this game, but I don't like the odds, that's why I don't bet on this game. Next one, Hoffenheim, Frankfurt, and I'm a little bit surprised that Hoffenheim is that clear favorite of 2.1, because we have Frankfurt only lost 1 game, while Hoffenheim only, they lost 2 games, and Frankfurt conceded not even half the amount of goals than Hoffenheim did. So best defense of Frankfurt. They had no really good games so far in this season, and that's why Hoffenheim is the favorite for the bookies, as they have a good streak. But have a look at their game against Bremen. Bremen is a really bad team, and Hoffenheim only won 3-2. They had one good half, but then they almost gave it away to Bremen in this game. They lost against Dortmund. This was a better game from Hoffenheim, but at the end they lost really clear against Dortmund, who is also not great at the moment. So I won't trust Hoffenheim at all, no bit at all. I would say the value is clear on Frankfurt. To bet on a Frankfurt win, also no consideration, as Frankfurt only won 1 game in this season. So we have, or 2 games even, okay. So we have no really strong reasons to believe that Frankfurt might win. But on the other hand, also I won't bet on the favorite odds of Hoffenheim. And that's why I would say we have 2 options here. Betting directly on a draw, we get odds of 3.5, and the other option is to ensure a Frankfurt win in this situation. That means draw no bet on Frankfurt with odds of 2.4 almost. Coming to the favorite team of every trend tipster who is a big loser, and that is Leverkusen. Because Leverkusen is first in the standings means a shit for me, because yeah, you can't trust them any way. I only trust them after game day number 34 if they are still leading with 4 points in advantage to Bayern Munich, but still it's way too early to say Leverkusen is really the best team in the league. That's why these odds on Leverkusen are way too low, 1.75. I won't trust them. I would say, okay, I would ride the trend if the odds are over 2, but they are not, so there's no value on Leverkusen. I would say Wolfsburg is good enough to make a draw here, as they only they didn't draw so far in this season, so at home they should show a better face. They won all their 3 home games with only conceding 1 goal, so home strong Wolfsburg should be able to keep at least 1 point at home against Leverkusen. I would say also here we have the chance betting directly on a draw with 1/3 of a unit, and we only lose 1/3 of a unit if Leverkusen still continues their run, which is not impossible for sure, which a lot of people expect that. But I want to bet on good odds or I don't bet, and this situation is I would bet a small unit to win 1 unit or even more if there's a draw, if if Leverkusen is winning, then I don't care about it, because I make around 1,000 bets a month, so everyone has the same amount. I don't overbet one or another bet, and that's why I don't care how one game is ending. But in the long run you will see it's better to pick the cherries, and in this situation Leverkusen for sure is not a real good cherry. It's just a poisoned one maybe. At the end, if they win, I really they should, but I won't throw money after them. Same situation here. You can't put a bet on these low odds of Bayern Munich. Do you remember the last game between Bayern Munich and Mainz? It was only 6 months ago. Mainz was winning this game 3-1. Okay, now we have a different situation, as Bayern Munich is finding back to their strengths. But keep in mind that there have been a lot of players playing in the United States. They have to fly a long distances. They might have a jet lag if you ever traveled from Europe to United States and back within this short time. You might have the same problem as I have when I traveled to Las Vegas and came back. I fell asleep around this time, and maybe you will see falling the Bayern players asleep here as well. So I don't think that the advantage is this big. I also would not put a single cent on Mainz, but only because I don't put a cent on Mainz doesn't mean I put anything on the other teams. So next, no bet, and if you're not into sports betting and expect me to have a bet on every game, then I disappoint you, because that is only something really losers do, betting too much. And so this channel gives you the best advices, and most of the time 90% in sports betting is not betting on bad odds and bad games, and these are bad odds and this is a bad game to bet on. And my favorite game on this game day is Cologne versus Mönchengladbach. You know that Cologne is struggling really hard in this season, and we see it in the standings that they are number 18 and they only have 1 point. They scored 4 goals in 7 games. 0 wins in 7 games. And why the fuck are they having odds of 2.4 and are favorite winning a game against any other team on this whole planet? This makes absolutely no sense. No matter how this game will end, every team can win any game someday, but knowing the situation of Cologne, it's completely nonsense to see them as a favorite. On the other hand, we have Mönchengladbach also not doing great in this season, losing 3 games, okay, but they were able to not lose at least 4 games. And the other 3 games were against Leverkusen, Bayern Munich, number 3, and RB Leipzig, number 6. And the 2 games against Leipzig and Bayern Munich were lost with only 1 goal. So tell me now, is Gladbach a bad team who deserves to be not favorite against a team who only scored 4 goals and has 1 point? I don't think so. And that's why, only considering the standings and the games so far, we can say this is the best value bet I've seen in a long time. And understand me, I don't know the future, and I know that every game can end this way or this way. So what? I only can tell you that it doesn't make sense that the odds on Gladbach are that high. So good for us. Betting on draw no bet Gladbach gives us huge potential with 2.0. In the end, if Cologne is winning their first game, who would have known this in advantage? And just pure gambling if you think Cologne will win, and it's not even paid good, so doesn't make any sense to back up Cologne in this situation. And on the other hand, makes a lot of sense trusting Gladbach, showing their regular game and not losing against Cologne. And this was the pre-last game. We have 1 game left on this game day. Heidenheim versus Augsburg. Augsburg was the first team in the Bundesliga season who changed their coach from Enrico Maaßen to Jesse Torup. And I think this was very unnecessary, because Augsburg is not expected to do better than they do now. With any coach, because the player potential is really limited. And I really was impressed of Augsburg that they scored 10 goals in the first 7 games, which is not that bad, and they only lost 4 out of 7 games, which is also not really bad for a team like Augsburg. But on the other hand, Heidenheim was a big surprise so far as a new team in the league. I really like their style of playing, and I really love their player Jan-Niklas Beste, which is one of the most interesting players in the Bundesliga at the moment. And you see Heidenheim at home really made an impact, and that's why they are favorite in this game. And I also think they should be higher favorites, so we can consider betting on draw no bet on Heidenheim. But the odds are only 1.7, and I don't want to bet on odds like 1.7 on teams like Heidenheim. So at the end, I would say it will be a draw, or maybe Heidenheim will continue to make points at home, as Augsburg has a new coach, and I don't believe in trainer effects, that a new coach is changing a team completely. This happens in not even 50% of the cases, but if it happens, everyone says, oh, there was such a trainer effect, and that's why everyone thinks, oh, if there's a new coach, there must be an effect. But in most of the cases, I statistically was looking at it, at every change on the bench in the Bundesliga for the last 5 years. So, and we have no evidence for a significant effect of coaches. There were few really good coaches, but the most of changes had really no or even a negative effect. And that's why, long story short, I won't say anything changed at Augsburg, and still this might be a clear draw. So that's why we now come to my correct score prediction. So, no surprise that Dortmund beats Bremen 3-0, but Union Berlin strikes back and beats Stuttgart 2-1. Leipzig, no surprise, is winning at Darmstadt, but not really high, 2-1. Freiburg, a must win against Bochum, only 1-0. Hoffenheim has problems, beating Frankfurt 1-1. Wolfsburg, Leverkusen, a lot of goals at the end, 2-2. And Bayern Munich is beating Mainz 3-0, no bet because of bad odds. And Gladbach beats Cologne 2-0, and draw between Heidenheim and Augsburg 1-1. And my two bets combined in an acca are Union Berlin and Gladbach not to lose. Asian Handicap 0 combined gives us odds of 3.6. And if you combine Asian Handicap -1 on both games, means they both have to win with 2 goals or more in advantage, then you get odds of 17.16, only combining 2 games. That is really attractive for me. What do you say? Write your best tips into the comments, and if you are not a subscriber of this channel, then you have to follow it. Before we start, make sure you press the like button and subscribe to this channel if you want the best predictions and betting tips on YouTube. Thanks for your support.